What's going on YouTube? My name is FG3000. I'm back in the place to be and welcome back to Tower of Fantasy. In today's video, I want to show off my favorite weapon in the game so far. It is Molten Shield version 2. Let's run through it. Now, Molten Shield version 2 is tied to the character Huma, who looks fantastic but looks even better at 3 stars. Like, look at that. Dude, Huma's looking real good. So one of the most important aspects of Molten Shield version 2 is that it's not just a shield, it's also an axe. So Molten Shield version 2 is a defensive fire weapon. Now for all my brand new Tower of Fantasy players out there, including myself, let me kind of explain what those mean. Now fire, pretty self-explanatory. The elemental type of this weapon is fire. Now as far as a defensive trait on this weapon, let me explain why that's important. So in Tower of Fantasy, there are no classes whatsoever. However, if you want to do some class-like stuff like tanking, there are some ways to make yourself even more of a tank per se. So what you're going to be looking at is Fortitude. Now you have to equip at least 2 defensive type weapons to activate this, but once you do, you will increase your damage reduction by 25%, your shatter by 60%, your aggro by 600, and if you're in a group, you further boost your damage reduction by 20%. So once again, there are no set classes in this game, but if you want to do tank things, having Fortitude will definitely make that possible. Now for the abilities, you have A rank on Shatter, A rank on Charge. Basically, Shatter dictates how quick you can destroy an enemy shield, and then Charge basically dictates how fast you can charge up your weapon. Now diving a little deeper in the flame type, fully charged weapons will set the target on fire for 8 seconds with the next attack, causing damage of 58% of your attack every second. Ignited targets will receive 50% efficacy from healing. Dude, I never say that word. Now when you get your very first copy of Molten Shield version 2 out of the gacha, it's no stars. It's not 2 stars, not 3 stars, not even 1 star. It's basically no stars. So once you start duping out this weapon, you start to activate additional passives. So to put it simply, as you dodge in shield form, you build up stacks of damage reduction 10% at a time, up to 3 stacks for 15 seconds. However, if you are in axe form, instead, you build up stacks of damage dealt by 15% for 15 seconds. Once again, both of these effects are canceled if you switch to another weapon, obviously. The 2-star passive effect increases your weapon's base HP growth by 16%. The 3-star passive effect requires shield form, where your branch and dodge attacks deal additional damage equal to 4% of the current target's HP. So if you're fighting a really HP heavy target, this is going to help you out quite a bit. The 4-star passive effect increases your current weapon's base attack growth by 32%. So the 3-star effect was all about your shield. The 5-star effect is all about your axe. So as soon as you switch to your axe, you get 30% damage reduction that diminishes by 10% every 3 seconds. I kind of like this. So you don't lose it cold turkey. It just kind of gradually cools down, but it goes to a minimum of 10%. So you always have a little bit of damage reduction, even when you're trying to do DPS in axe form. And if you are lucky or whaley enough to get this bad boy up to 6 stars, that's going to make your shield enhancement increase your damage by 60%, and expand the radius of your flame zone by 30%. And as for axe form, for the next 5 seconds after using this ability, turn all damage received into HP up to a maximum of 15% of the user's max HP. So when this weapon is discharged, right, it literally does all the things. It removes all your debuffs. It does a ton of damage. It taunts people. It shatters their shield. It gives you damage reduction. Like, this weapon is a ton of fun to use. Now, as for the recommended matrix for this weapon, here's a few ideas. So you're already going to be doing quite a bit of dodging to activate your 1-star passive stacks. So Slightly Awaken will give you on-hit effects as you dodge. And the same exact thought process applies when it comes to Intuitive Tactic. Once again, since you're going to be dodging anyway, in fact, you might even be dodging for no reason to kind of get your stacks going, this is going to grant you an additional 1 dodge every 3, so that way you have one just in case you really actually need to get out of trouble. And then lastly, since this weapon is such a shattering beast, Advocate of Violence is going to give you additional damage as you shatter them shields. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into combat. We've done plenty of talking. Here we are inside the instance that is available today. Depending on what day of the week is, there are different instances that are available. So this is the one that's currently going, and I'll show off a couple of the abilities that we just talked about. Here's my little charge up ability, as you guys can see there. You're probably not going to do that in a group. Probably much better off just doing some DPS. That's my basic attack, air basic attack there as well. Hey, what you doing up there? Dude, I love the way this zone looks. It gives me like some Borderlands vibes for sure. Here's the axe. Look at that, just beautiful, dude. Spin the Wind. I feel like Spin the Wind is probably the most satisfying attack move in video game history. Well, let me not go that far. This dude is using a wrench. Like, that is so Borderlands, like, for real, for real. All right, down you go. Anyone else around? Anyone else around? Let's go ahead and unlock this treasure chest. Spend myself a little bit of vitality to do so. This dungeon, if you want to join it, it'll cost you 60 vitality, and that is because there are 3 chests in this dungeon. So 20, 40, 60, that'll allow you to unlock all 3 chests. Dude, no! Wait a minute! Dude, I got stuck! Come on, Tower Fantasy! Way to keep up with your team, FG. You know what? I do what I do. I'm purposely just kind of sticking with this weapon, though, just because that's what the video is all about. So if I want to go back to my shield, I can do so just by pressing Y again, which activates my shield. So once again, if I'm feeling like I'm, taking too much aggro, I need some more damage reduction, I can always switch back and forth depending on what need arises. Now, when someone triggers the bullet time, it triggers for all of us. So that's one thing I find really kind of neat. If you feel like, you're in a group and you feel like you might not be as good of a dodger as the other people in your group, you don't necessarily have to worry about it too much. Because as long as one person in your group is good enough at dodging, you're good to go. It'll activate for the entire group. I just switched my weapon though. It was just too good of an opportunity. Here's the discharge. Great camera angle, FG. Everybody shattered. I'm aggroing on people. You can see this guy looking at me with a smile on his face. He ain't gonna be smiling in a second as we switch to that axe on that axe. Switching to that axe on that axe. And down you go. That's the second little mid-boss there. Once again, that's 20 vitality. Whoops. Oh, I'll let you guys see this. This is the boss for this zone here. Wait until you see her in action. Now, do keep in mind, the game is closed beta. Not every NPC, actually, a lot of NPCs do not have their localization complete yet, which means they don't have their English voice actors. So a lot of that is still pending, but I cannot wait to see what these 2 characters have to say once they're given a voice, I should say. Someone's activated our bullet time. Let's go ahead and do some damage behind their back. Very, very nice. I'm actually going to go ahead and switch to my healing staff just for a second, get my team a little bit of a teamwork there. Very, very nice. And I also do pretty good damage with that as well. Once again, discharge on my shield there. Very nice. Switch to the axe. Tons of damage. Looks like this boss is resistant against fire, so this is a terrible idea. But before you go inside the dungeon will tell you what the bosses are more resistant against. So, depending on the day of the week, right? So right now, today is Wednesday. So you know that this dungeon is going to be active on Wednesday. You can make sure that you bring a weapon set that corresponds to the weakness of the bosses that are in that dungeon. So that is actually really cool. You can definitely plan ahead and not let your group down, which I definitely like. I'm naturally a rogue though, so I'm going to say behind your back here. Once again, taunt, come at me, bro. You can see the boss is keeping an eye out on me. And then since the boss is attacking me, I can always just kind of hunker down, as you can see here, and then blow up. Now this guy, this guy in his full Speedo outfit, riding a unicycle. When is the last time you saw a boss ride a unicycle? You ain't never seen it. unless you play Tower Fantasy, then you might have seen it. But other than that, I don't think you have. He has a big, massive mallet. I forgot that. I gotta make sure that I mean, the video is about the shield. Unfortunately, the shield is weak here. So like my instincts when I see that he's weak is to switch weapons. So right now I'm using my little thunder staff. My thunder staff is an SR weapon. I know a lot of people have been very curious to know, are SR weapons, are they viable compared to SSR weapons? Well, you have to think about it like this. You're gonna have way more luck duping out your SR weapons versus your SSR weapons. And you remember all of those passives that I was telling you about earlier? They sound good, But if you don't have any dupes of this SSR tier shield, you're not going to be able to have any of those passives. So you're way more likely to have duplicates of your SR weapons to activate all those really cool passives. And yes, SRs do have really cool passives attached to them as well. And don't worry, we'll be making videos on all them things. Because I really do like my staff here. Really fantastic weapon. But that's gonna be it for this dude, my friend. All right, so if you're wondering why you wanna run instances other than just having fun and killing bosses, this is where equipment drops. So I just got some blue Falcon shoulder guards, and you can see random stats down here, so you kinda know what in-game is gonna look like. Running dungeons, trying to get gear drops that have the right set of random stats that fit your class and what you're trying to do. Word is on the street, it's not that important, but of course we'll see. And you can also enhance this gear as well. So I'll enhance it, get myself +5, and then I'll unlock some more attack here. As you guys can see, +11 attack. Dude, where's those percent base attacks? I don't want no crusty flat stats. So that will do it. Once again, my name is FG3000, and that was a nice little look at Huma and her Molten Shield version 2. Fantastic character that looks even better once you get her up to 3 stars. Looking good, Huma. See you in the next video.